fucking west I go. And then coming back, it just, you know.
Well, you know what? I can go to Oklahoma City and I can breathe just fine, get to the top of the hill and all that.
Yeah. So,
We'd like to call to order the regular scheduled meeting for December 13th, 2021 for the city of Lindsay. Would you please pray with me? Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this awesome and gracious day, dear Lord. Dear Lord, we come to you tonight to ask for your blessings upon this council, dear Lord, upon the city. And dear Lord, we come to you praying with alert minds and gracious hearts. And we ask that you just hear us tonight, dear Lord. And we ask that you convict us to hear you and do your will. And dear Lord, we come to you tonight and want to thank you for the men and women, the servicemen and women at home and abroad, dear Lord, who give us the freedoms to have this meeting tonight, dear Lord, and to be able to pray to you even, dear Lord. Dear Lord, we love you so much, dear Lord. I just want you to be recognized, dear Lord, that this time right now is for you. It's Christmas, dear Lord, and the birth of Jesus came down and saved us of all of our sins, dear Lord. We just thank you so much. We love you so much, but thank you for loving us first. We ask all these things in your Son's most precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Dodger,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Henderson,
here.
Hernandez,
Here.
Staggs,
Here.
Citizen comments.
Do I need to give my name and all that good stuff? Robert Brooks, citizen of Lindsay. I'm hoping maybe back in July, y'all had voted in favor of supporting the community food bank. Can any of y'all council members, Staggs, Hernandez, any of the ones that voted on, anybody give me an update on that? Can you give me a head count on maybe how many people we fed for Thanksgiving or anything like that? Do you know Robin, Anthony? I can tell you it was zero. The last few months, while you guys have been feuding and fighting, nothing's happened on that. It's sat because nobody's paying attention to it. Everybody's too busy arguing and fighting and acting like a bunch of kindergartners. We've got families that are going without food. We've got families that are going to have kids home for Christmas break and Thanksgiving break. They're going to be worried about that. And now, from what I understand, we're not even going to have it done for Christmas. Is that correct? That's correct. I've got a few things, other things I'd like to talk about. Councilman Henderson, we've had a meeting and a couple of discussions about some of the lies you've spread about me, both while you were a council member and since then acting on behalf of the city of Lindsay regarding my employment with the city of Lindsay. And I offered to allow you to view my employment record. Have you reviewed that record? I couldn't hear you.
I'm not gonna say nothing. So,
Okay.
save your questions for me.
So that's a no, okay. So basically you just admitted that you spread those rumors and lies about me without actually viewing my employment record.
Okay, no, wait a minute, Robert, he doesn't have to respond. He
Oh,
doesn't have to
okay.
respond to, any inquiries that you make. It's not on the agenda, it's just citizen comments, and the council
Okay.
does not have to respond.
Okay.
And a failure to respond is not an admission by any means.
Oh, no, I understand. I'm glad we established some dialogue here. What if I did want to be on the agenda? What would I need to do, other than if the mayor put me on there? Are there any other ways for me to get on the agenda?
The mayor and the city council control the agenda.
Okay, and so what would it take, other than the mayor putting me on the agenda, what would it take?
I believe.
How would the council members put me on there?
I think the majority of the
A
council.
majority of the council, and we have a 7-person council, so that would be 4 people, correct?
Yes,
Okay?
correct.
Now, I'm really confused here because I've attended several council meetings here over the last 5-6 months that have had things on the agenda that only contained the signature of 3 council members. Is that correct, Ms. Staggs? Whenever you guys had the executive session on there to fire the city manager, there were only 3 signatures?
Okay, just a minute. Now, I'm not, your charter, either your charter or your ordinances or the state law is gonna establish that.
Okay. Well, you just told me a
I'm
majority.
sorry, I thought
I'm
it
just-
was majority, but again, I'm saying that that's generally the rule. But I
Okay.
didn't look at the charter because I didn't know that question was gonna be asked.
Okay.
Has anybody else looked at the charter on that?
I have, I can tell you, it is majority.
Just
Okay,
says majority.
I'm just saying, that's
Yeah.
normally the case, but
Yeah, it says
I'm not
majority.
looking at the charter right now.
Again, council, does anybody care to answer the question for me? When the executive, Councilman Henderson, was there 3 signatures or 4? Was there a majority? When you went into executive session to discuss firing the city manager, was there a majority of the signatures or was there only 3?
Now, you're talking about 2 different things, okay? When you go into an executive session, then the city council, somebody's gonna make a motion.
It was on the agenda.
The question as to whether it should or should not be on the agenda is independent from whether or not they had the right to go into.
Okay, I'll ask both questions. You've pretty much already answered one question. Was it supposed to be on the agenda minus a majority of the council members' signatures?
That is the procedure. And again, you all are telling me that that's what your charter says. Normally, it requires a majority.
Right, I understand, but simple yes or no question. Was it supposed to be on the agenda minus a majority of the council members' signatures? What would a reasonable person think? No.
Well,
And that happened at several meetings.
Whether it
Now,
happened or whether it did not.
do you also think that a reasonable person would kind of comprehend that as a violation of the Open Meetings Act?
There's a difference between the violation of the Open Meeting Act is a totally and completely different standard than the Open Meeting Act. The violation of the Open Meeting Act would have to do whether or not you had a quorum, whether or not the agenda was properly posted, whether or not, there were no.
There were things properly put on the agenda?
That's not, the Open Meeting Act does not address how items get placed on the agenda.
Okay, what does?
Well, your charter.
Okay,
your charter
so if they
has-
violate that, is there any law broken?
Again, I wasn't asked. to
We're not real
look at that,
sure, are we?
I-
So, since they're,
But I mean, because the normal course of things would be, if there's something on the agenda that should not be on the agenda, then that issue should be raised before there's a motion made or a second made or before a vote is taken.
okay,
That's
so
something
but
that's
it's fair to say that
normally-
it's all questionable, vague, and maybe a little gray.
Well, again, normally that's going to happen whenever it comes up on the agenda and not months after the fact, or you're talking about going back. But-
This is,
Now, if there's an action that's improperly taken as a result of an improper executive session or something of that sort.
or
then
something that was
action
improperly
could be
put
set
on the
aside.
agenda?
The approval could possibly be set aside. There's a procedure for doing that. So that, let's say if something's approved that should not have been approved, that wasn't properly approved, then at a later meeting, the issue could be raised and that could possibly be challenged and set
So-
aside. But the meeting I think that you're talking about with the.
4 different meetings that happened.
Okay, and I don't know if there was action taken that should be considered to see whether the action taken should be set aside.
So would it be fair to say that since we can agree that those things were improperly put on the agenda, that it would be fair to check into that to see if some things were improperly voted on?
I'm not
I mean,
going to
if you're a
agree.
citizen.
I'm not going to agree
Okay.
because I don't know whether
Okay.
anything is properly.
And that's my
checked.
point.
When-
You
when
don't know.
I see the agenda or Amanda sees the agenda, it's already prepared.
Right, and that's my point. You don't know.
But at the point, you know, you're doing, that's not Open Meeting Act, okay? That's
Okay.
not an Open Meeting Act issue.
Okay, but it is fair to say that we don't know if there were actions taken. We can agree that those things were improperly put on the agenda. Not sure if there were actions taken, and maybe it needs to be looked into.
If somebody wants to raise the issue to look into it.
That's why I'm here.
Again, that's what I'm saying, is that, absent some type of a notice that I've got an inquiry to make about this agenda or that agenda or another agenda, we can't come in here
Right.
and determine whether or not what you're saying is true, whether it's not
Right.
true,
Right.
or whether there was something approved that should not have been approved, whether there was an improper executive session. You're gonna have to be a little more specific with that.
Okay,
We would
I'm
have to
pretty
know.
specific.
I would say that, the mayor and the council would need to know in advance what exactly it is that you're talking about.
Okay.
What meeting, when did
I've
it
just
occur?
pointed it out. The only meetings that those 3 individuals have put things improperly on the agenda.
If I'm
In
asked
fact,
to
it's
do
the
so, I
only,
would
it's the only
restate-
meeting that I know of, since I've been following the council, that has had anything put on the agenda other than what the mayor has put on the agenda. That's the only time that specific procedure has been used.
I couldn't tell you, I don't know, I am not, when we see the agenda's already done. If, the mayor or somebody called to question whether something should or should not be on the agenda, we would address it at that time and make a determination whether or not that's an item that needs to be pulled off of the agenda before it comes before the meeting. And honestly, that has happened before. It has happened before. where
I understand that,
determination
but
has
I'm
been
being,
made
I'm
that something is
specifically
properly on the
speaking
agenda.
about the times in which the council members have tried to have overrode the mayor's authority by signing only 3 signatures to get things put on the agenda.
Well, again, I don't know what occurred or when it occurred. This is the first that I'm hearing about something allegedly being improperly put on the agenda. If that's something that needs to be looked into, we can look into that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was hoping to do. Councilmember Staggs and Councilmember Hernandez have been very vocal about getting an investigative audit. In fact, certain individual in town has been successful into strong-arming the council into getting an audit. So all I'm asking for is to simply put those particular items, to include those items on that audit.
Well, it's my recollection, if I'm not mistaken, that the parameters of the audit have already been set. That's already been done in a prior meeting, isn't that correct? That's already been done. That particular audit that was called for and the
At
parameters.
the meeting that I attended, it was gonna be months before we could get that audit.
Well, I think that is the case, because they're going to get.
So it's too late to add recent violations to that audit?
That's up to the council. I mean, there would have to be something put on the agenda to consider adding items to the investigative audit or to amend the parameters that were established by the council, because that's already been done.
Okay.
And it can't be done now. But, if it can be the parameters can be amended or added to if the council.
So would it be
chooses
fair
that.
to just make a public request for the council to add that to the current audit? Is that fair?
Well, that would have to be done at a meeting. And
I
that would have to be
understand.
done by a vote.
I'm just asking, would that be a fair question for me to ask? Can I do that?
You can ask your council.
Okay, I'd like to do that.
Anything you want to.
I would like to do that. I'd like to see if you guys would put that on the next agenda to have the possible, to have that looked into. Fair enough. And also, while I've got your attention, I've been reading lots of cases and things that have come out regarding council members, social media with council members posting things and making private posts and things like that regarding their public office. Do you agree that the council members are only supposed to have discuss city business on public social media, that they cannot make that private?
No, I don't know what media you're talking about, but, you know, every city council member has First Amendment rights. Every council member has freedom.
No, I'm not talking about their private use. I'm talking about discussing city business
So,
specifically.
it's prohibited for a quorum, which would take four, to have discussions of city business outside the scope of a
Yeah.
properly scheduled.
Now, I'm not talking about
meeting.
them
But it's a quorum.
discussing, I'm
You're
talking
a
about
quorum.
their Facebook pages that they discuss city business on being, blocking people from them, Councilman Henderson, and making them private groups. Would you agree that they're not supposed to do that?
That should be addressed.
And it may be addressed in the council member handbook, but
It
you know,
is.
you're talking about something, I don't know it's difficult, I don't know what you're talking about. You're talking about a
I'm
broad
talking about
terms about.
council members having
Council
Facebook
members.
pages and groups.
Council members have First Amendment rights.
I understand
just
that.
like you do.
I understand that, where they discuss city business and converse with the public regarding their city or political business, blocking people and making those groups and pages private.
I don't know I don't know what you're talking about, blocking people. You're saying they're blocking people to their.
Blocking people from
To
being
their-
able to view those
Their
pages.
personal Facebook.
Not a personal page. I'm talking about a page where they discuss city business.
I'm sorry, without having the context of what you're talking about. I can't tell you whether what's being done or not being done is protected by the First Amendment, whether it's a violation of the Open Meeting Act because there's more than 4 city council members involved in the discussions. But certainly, city council members have the right to discuss their views about city business with the public. They can't violate the Open Meeting Act.
But
they
at
have
the
right
same
to
time, they
express their
can't
views.
block people from viewing that.
I don't-
And they cannot make those groups private.
Again, I don't know
Has to
what
be
you're talking
public.
about. I do not know, I don't know the context in which you're talking about that, and so I'm not gonna take a position as to whether or not what they're doing is a violation or whether it's protected by the First Amendment. I'm not going to take a position on that because you're talking to me about
So,
groups and Facebook and stuff, things that I don't know, that I don't see, I don't know anything about. But, you know, we're not going to, I'm not going to give an opinion on something that I don't know the facts about. And that's just the way it is. I'm
okay.
not going to. because
So if
know
I
you're
were
talking.
to hand in an open records request to view Councilman Henderson's private Councilman Henderson Facebook page where he discusses city business with members of the group, would that be, would you?
I'm not going to take a position as to whether or not that's subject to the Open Records Act, without seeing it, seeing the facts. I'm not gonna take a decision on anything without knowing the facts underlying it. If you wanna make an Open Records Act request of that nature, it will be, their inquiry will be made and it'll be.
It sounds like you're not very familiar with the recent cases, involving social media, so I'll also
I'm telling
include
you,
those.
You can include the cases if you want, but no case that's out there without knowing the underlying facts to compare to the case, it would be irresponsible for anyone to
It's a
take a
very
decision.
specific question. Can members of the council have a private group where they discuss city business with their constituents? It's a very simple question.
Well, I'm not going to answer that question.
I mean, I understand your position as being a protector of the city of Lindsay, but it's just a very simple question.
I'm not gonna answer that question.
Okay.
Because I don't know I honestly, I don't know the facts. I don't know the facts underlying all of this. I'm not privy to any of these groups or any of these Facebook pages or any of these posts. I know that you have made a determination as to your belief that they are discussing city business.
Correct.
And that it falls into that parameters, but without seeing what you're talking about, I'm not going to take a position on it. Without
Maybe
seeing
that's
what you're
something
talking
that
about.
Councilman Henderson should consult with you about then and pay attention to his councilman handbook. The last thing I'd like to ask about is the hangar, the airport hangars. Where are we at on that? Are we gonna build them? We're not gonna build them? I know there was some discussion about some possible grants. I actually looked into that, and it doesn't look like we qualify because we don't have enough hangars. Does anybody know where we're at on that? I know Councilman Henderson was pretty ecstatic that he got it shut down, but I know there was a vote to build them. I wanted to see if it was shut down or if we're still gonna build them.
Who do you want to answer?
Whoever, I don't care. I don't know where we're at. You guys, the council voted and approved to build the hangars. We actually had people that took their time to do the bidding process, contractors. And I don't know where we're at. Councilman Henderson seemed to be pretty excited that he got it shut down. It's kind of a personal vendetta against me, but
Okay.
where are we at on it?
I can
City Manager, if you can answer the question, you answer his question.
Absolutely. So originally when when they accepted the bid, and they voted to proceed, during the OML session, I heard about some possible grants that were coming out for airports. So we contacted the company and asked them if we could put the project on hold just until we verified if we could qualify for these grants or not. After looking into it further, those grants aren't going to be something that is viable for the city to use, so we can continue on after the first of the year and proceed with the current contract. So we are still on track with that company to proceed with the hangars. They were just putting the contract on hold until we could verify if we would qualify for any of those grants. But since we have found out now that those grants aren't available to us, the contract is back up and going. We just can't proceed until we get the materials, which is about a 6-month turnaround.
But, so we are, the company that won the bid, are still gonna build that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Appreciate your time.
Anyone else? Consent agenda, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on November 8th, 2021, approval of the minutes of the special meeting on November 12th, 2021, approval of the minutes of the special meeting on November 16th, 2021, acceptance of November 2021 financial statements, acceptance of purchase order payments, acceptance of the payment of the purchase orders issued by the City of Lindsay for the month of November 2021, approval of the 2022 lease agreement with the Lindsay Historical Society for the management of the Murray Lindsay Mansion, and approval of the regular scheduled meeting dates for the calendar year 2022.
Before we approve, I've got some questions about the library situation. Let me get to it.
The library,
The library,
it's not in on the consent agenda.
it's not, it's on approval of the purchase orders. And the
Oh, okay,
financial.
question about the purchase orders, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Do you want to
Remove that one?
remove the remove E and go ahead and approve the rest of the consent docket and then deal with E separately? Is that what you
Yes,
wanted to do?
let's do that.
Okay.
Now, regarding the
Wait a minute,
historical.
you need to go ahead and make a motion to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D.
Move to approve A, B, C, G, and G.
You wanna remove all of those? Or you wanna approve
I
all of
want
them?
approval.
Okay, all right.
Now,
Wait a minute, you gotta get a second.
A, B, C, and G,
A, B, C,
and G.
and G. Okay?
Okay, on the historical society lease.
Just a second, you need to take a vote on
Okay.
that motion.
Okay.
Okay, okay? Then you'll go back and address D, E,
My wheels
F,
are turning there.
You're doing good, just,
Okay, you've got the motion made.
I'll second
Wait
it.
another second.
I'll second
it. Okay.
roll call, please.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs.
Yes,
Consideration of items removed from consent agenda. Item D. Let's get the financial reports.
right. And then E.
Okay, just, you're gonna
Let's do
start the
D-
discussion
D
on
first.
D
Let's
first.
do D, okay.
We'll discuss them separately. So what were your questions on the financial, acceptance on the financial?
Well, the
reports?
POs actually go regarding the library, actually work together with the financial reports. And that could be quite lengthy from the FYI information that I've got. So, move to approve all but the library situation. Can we do that?
You wanna pay all POs except the library?
Yes, because of the FYI, what I have been looking at in the FYI section regarding the library, some of it is not making sense to me
I got a lot-
regarding all POs, period.
I got a lot of questions about the library POs myself, that's why I asked her all that.
Okay, so you've made a motion to approve,
All POs except the library POs.
okay. Somebody give a second now.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs.
Yes,
Okay, just to clarify, you are approving D and E on the financial reports and the purchase orders, but nothing for the library.
So, is
Right.
that what you said, Robin?
yes.
So D
Okay,
and-
do you want to discuss the items that you have concerns about on the purchase orders, or not?
Okay.
Do you all want to discuss those? No. I mean, you don't have to,
We can attempt to get through it.
Okay. No, I don't wanna do that. From looking at the financials, there was a PO that was forwarded by our library director. that, nothing was left in the account. Due to the router coming out of that account.
That's in a completely different fiscal year. That was last year.
Go ahead, speak up.
The PO on that router that you're referring to, that was in last year. That was for last year. That's not in this fiscal year.
This is 8/3/21.
Okay, anything that's paid, do you want me?
Please.
Anything that's paid in July, August, September can be reflected back to the previous fiscal year because we have until September 30th to pay all of the bills of the preceding fiscal year. And that router was purchased in the previous fiscal year, but it was not paid for until the current fiscal year. But it was booked back to the previous year. And I believe if you're looking at that library one, you're looking at the FYI back there on the report that was turned into the state that showed that that was paid. Because it had to close out that fiscal year as of June 30th.
Alright.
In your FYI section, I was asked to put in
Oh, that's.
the library,
Okay.
state aid.
Okay, on page 1 of the financial statement as of November 30th, 2021. Under the library, the annual budget of $103,072. Okay, budget balance as of the 30th of November is $67,426.71.
Again, that's the current fiscal year. And that reflects the expenditures that were paid for July, August, September, October, November.
Okay,
Because if you look at the column that says year-to-date actual, it shows how much has been spent, which includes payroll. And that explains why there's $35,000 for 4 months, and your balance is $67,000 on that line.
okay. On 7/12 of 21, on our summer reading program, why did it take so long for the person that did our summer reading program to get paid?
Without having that invoice here, I could not tell you, but again, that's in last year's fiscal. It is not in this year.
Do we always do business that way?
Absolutely. Every town in the state of Oklahoma and throughout the United States does it that way because the law allows 3 months to close out the fiscal year and pay all of the final bills.
So for example, if you order something when a PO is created and you go to order a part or a piece of equipment for a department, and let's say you're ordering it in June and something happens and it goes on back order and you don't get that until September, your fiscal year's already ended. That PO was before your fiscal year ended, but
Right.
you can't pay it until you get the product. So some of those don't get paid until after the year closes.
Okay, where is the PO that ordered the new computer for the library?
I'm not sure which.
It would, the PO attachment,
Yes,
that would have been when it was ordered.
Yeah, because Daryl orders, when we have a request for something, Daryl will order it. When he gets it in stock, then we get our invoice for that particular thing. That
So the
computer,
PO might be issued months before we get the product or before it's paid. So a PO might be issued in 1 month but not paid for 2 to 3 months later, depending on the arrival of the product.
okay. There was no PO issued on that computer. But it was okayed by you, Rebecca.
What do you mean no PO was issued?
There was no PO issued on it,
I've signed a PO for that router.
but it's not attached in this packet.
We don't attach the POs,
We
it's on
just-
your list.
It's just on the financial list.
But why did we get POs over here, but not here?
Okay, what you're looking at, those POs that you keep referring to, that you're looking at here, is from the state aid application that was turned in, the closeout, or, no, it's the state aid for the new one that they had to do, which they lost.
Okay, that's another question. Why wasn't the library, why were they not allowed to get state aid this year?
They screwed up their application. All applications for grants in the city of Lindsay and LPWA are supposed to come to council and to the city manager. That one did not.
Can you show proof of that?
Absolutely.
Okay, I wanna see it.
I don't have it with me.
I'll pick it up tomorrow. I
I
wanna see
will
it.
not be in. My father died and I will not be in this week.
Rebecca, can I get that from you?
What is it that you're asking for?
Where, Brenda did not get in her application for the state aid to be signed off on?
I think that could be,
It's
it's
a-
attached to your, in your FYI pack of your packet. It should be attached in here.
And it didn't say that it did not get signed. It says the maintenance of effort was not met. And they included the actual rules that showed why it did not meet. It had nothing to do with the signature.
But does Eric, Rebecca, do y'all not sign off for that state aid?
If it's brought to
If it's brought to council, yeah, if we are aware of it.
Might be a good reason to get some fresh blood on that library board to help oversee things like
Council
that.
is supposed to approve every grant application.
So
We
they
bring
should
it to them.
approve it before it's applied for. So they approve it, then we apply for it, then when we get the money, we bring it back and you guys accept the money. So it's a two-step process.
Okay.
F, you probably have to F, yeah.
Decision about the library.
We've got purchase orders that need to be paid.
On the library?
Yes.
We always have purchase orders that have to be paid.
Okay, so then somebody gonna make a motion to approve the purchase orders for the library, or not? That's where we stand now before we move on to the next. Okay.
You know, I wanna look at it some more before I heard.
Okay, so I mean, if there is no motion, that's fine. So basically,
We need to go to the historical.
so you need to, now let's move down to the Lindsay Historical Society lease agreement on F.
Item F.
Okay. Regard,
I saw a problem with the date on that.
that's what I was fixing to say.
That has been corrected.
Did Sean Bridwell get a copy of this?
It's the exact same agreement from every single year, and Sean never looks at it. He comes in and signs it, cause it has not changed. We've asked for them to look at it and change it every year, except for this year, because I was dealing with my father's impending death.
Okay. So. Yes. Go ahead.
What are you speaking about?
Sean Bridwell, I talked to Sean Bridwell regarding this today, because I saw it was on the agenda, so I called Sean. I said, are you aware that that's gonna be in the meeting today? And he said, will you go by and get a copy of that? Because he would like to review it, and he's right. He hasn't really looked at it, and he said that he would like to look at it, so I called the office today, talked to a girl named Jana, and requested get a copy, and I was told I could look at it, but not take it. So I texted Sean and told him that it would be his responsibility to get that, because it wasn't gonna be given to
So
me.
the lease
And I said,
agreement's not
I can't look at
effective.
something and memorize it, and without having it to hand to him, because he wanted to review it and bring it to the next historical society meeting and discuss it.
It can be tabled to the next meeting.
It's not gonna be in service unless he does sign it.
I mean, even if the city of Lindsay approves the lease agreement, it's not gonna be effective until he approves it, but you
We
can vote
approve
it
it
to the
from our
next
side and he
meeting.
signs it later,
Yeah.
after review.
But he may wanna make some changes, he doesn't know.
Make some changes.
Okay, so,
Move to
somebody
table.
want, okay, so you want somebody to
Second.
second that? Okay. Okay.
Roll call, please.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item 8, resolution 2021-25. Consider and take action with respect to a resolution approving action taken by the Lindsay Public Works Authority authorizing issuance, sale, and delivery of a Series 2021 Clean Water SRF promissory note to the authority to the Oklahoma Water Resource Board, approving and authorizing the execution of a sales tax agreement, ratifying and confirming a lease as amended, and containing other provisions related thereto.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2021-25 pending approval by the LPWA.
Second.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Question. I was told, I don't know, if it's voted no, I was told we're gonna be left with the bill anyway, is that right?
The company could back
Yeah,
in
we-
pursue
they-
this.
we've
That's why
already-
I heard that, so I was just
That's
wondering.
correct, we've already signed a contract with them, so
Right.
they have the legal right to sue us for that contractual
Okay,
obligation.
cause this is just my thoughts, I mean, I bought a car, they offered the loan, we can say no, well, I don't think that they could necessarily sue because we didn't want to buy the car, that's just one thing.
It's not the
That's what I was
loan,
like-
it's the meter company,
Meter company.
we've already accepted their bid. So it's not
Okay.
the financing people that would sue us, it's the meter company that could sue us.
Okay, can I ask another question? What kind of warranty and guarantee is on these meters?
I believe it was in the water things, I think we have a 10-year warranty. 10-year?
I thought,
It was either
there-
5
there's
or
a,
10.
there's a 5-year
It was
warranty.
either 5 or 10.
That's what we purchased
Yeah.
in the deal.
That's electric.
Only electric, the water was.
Well, they're both different, but they both
Yeah,
have
that's
good
a
warranties.
5-year warranty on both?
Well, yeah, but I mean, we're looking at top of the line, we're looking at some great equipment here. I don't think, I mean, I voted no on it, but now I'm gonna vote yes, because, I mean, this is what we desperately need. We did sign a contract to get it with
UTS.
with UTS. And, I mean, it's different, the warranties are two different things between the water and the electric, but, I mean, it's the Cadillac of the, I mean, we shouldn't have any problem with it.
I mean, I think the warranty's less on the water meters because they're in the ground.
Yeah, in the ground.
It's a whole new billing system, it changes everything.
I'm obvious.
Yes,
It changed.
Staggs,
yes.
Item 9, police vehicles. Discussion and possible action on waiving competitive bidding pursuant to section 2-305F2 of the City of Lindsay ordinances and authorizing the purchase of 3 fully equipped police vehicles from Southwest Public Safety in the amount of $70,000 in lieu of using the state's contract or other sources due to the extreme supply shortage and vendor availability. Chief, you here? What exactly is your current vehicle situation with your officers?
We have one vehicle for each officer, we have no spares left. We have one that is getting ready to get deadline because we've been every other week, try to keep it running.
Which one is that one?
It's Ford Explorer,
Ford Explorer.
Unit 1302.
That one's about done. Are there more that are about done, or
We have
what kind of
two,
shape?
between 1302 and 1401, which were bought in 2013, 2014. They can still be used as reserve vehicles just in town, but they don't need to be going outside of town.
Is that the Impala or one of them?
No, the Impala has major problems. I wouldn't expect that thing to last much longer. We've been trying to baby it, but it's getting bad.
Has Crown Big been put back in service yet?
It has, but it's not really equipped for a patrol unit. Everything was stripped out of it at one point.
And what are we going on with here? Accept the bid for this company in San Antonio?
So basically, normally how this would work is we would do competitive bidding and we would put it out for bid and we would take bids for police vehicles and you guys would accept the lowest bid.
Mhm.
However, due to COVID and the lack of computer chips and vehicle shortages and that kind of thing, we can't competitively bid something because we have an expected ship date. So it's being 2 years out before these new vehicles, and 2 brand new vehicles will be 100,000. That's not including any of the police equipment. These, we're getting 3 used police vehicles that are in really good shape, and each one of those, just to put the police equipment in, is 15 grand. So each one of those already is fully equipped with all the equipment, all the gear ready to go. So we're getting 3 units fully operable versus waiting 2 years for maybe 1 or 2 and paying quite a bit more, plus the 15,000 per unit to have them installed with the police equipment. So the reason we're bringing this to the council is so that you can waive the competitive bidding process, since we can't really do the competitive bidding with the car shortage that's going on.
How much did we allow for capital outlay police? Is it 100,000?
110,000.
1,000 or 2,000.
So it's not necessarily these units right here is what we're going after, or is it, or?
It's the 3 that are listed in there.
Yep.
Okay.
It took me 2 months to find them. Ford and Chevrolet are both 6 to 8 months out before you might even see a delivery of the vehicle.
Yeah, we discussed that a while back.
And I talked to Missouri Highway Patrol, Kansas Highway Patrol, who usually surplus their vehicles at 35,000 miles. Missouri has a waiting list of around 50 people, and they have not been surplusing because they can't get new vehicles to replace them.
And this, all as is, I mean, everything,
They are as is.
vehicle and all
They've been totally gone through.
mhm.
They look like brand new inside. And they have, like Rebecca said, they have all the equipment that we need, including radars, everything.
And the radars and the radios, that's all as is.
The radios we put in. No radio goes with a police unit because we're all on different frequencies.
Mhm. But I mean, like I noticed the light bars and stuff like that.
That's all on there.
Yeah, all on it.
Yes.
I just bought a vehicle for my son, and every place we went to said it's gonna get worse in January.
Yeah, it is.
Mhm.
I mean, the manufacturers have already started sending stuff out that it's gonna be a year. But then you're gonna run into the problem with us is now you have the vehicle out a year. Now what about the equipment to equip them? Because now they're gonna be on a backlog and we're gonna have a supply chain interruption with that too.
And how many more vehicles are we gonna break down before we can get some better ones in service? Because once we get 2 or 3 new ones in, that gives us time to pull some of those units that are in service every day off the road to do repairs and upkeep on them.
Yeah,
So
we had
it's
one of the
keeping our
new Dodge
fleet.
Durangos go down the other day. It puts my guy out of a vehicle. We're running around like crazy trying to find parts to fix the thing to get
They're
it back in.
Dodges.
I agree.
Sorry, Greg.
Am I the only Dodge
Wow.
person?
That's why they're called lot of dooges.
No,
Do you feel this is the best use of your budget money at this time?
At this time, yes. It's something we really need to keep us going and keep the guys outfitted and what they need.
what is the future for the, is it gonna be paint, are they gonna need painted? or-
The only thing we're gonna have to do, we'll put radios in them,
Mhm.
that are our radios, our frequency, and we'll have to let them.
Let 'em.
Other than that, they're done,
Okay, so not gonna,
yes.
Well, I know you sure deserve them, y'all been doing a great job.
yes.
I'm glad to hear that.
I'm gonna make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item 10, discussion and possible action to approve application for an ARPA for the library, accept the funds, and approve a budget amendment for the revenue and expenditures for the ARPA award. Is this COVID money for the library?
yes.
This has been applied for, received,
Applied for and received.
and this is the first time we're seeing.
Yes.
I move to approve.
Second.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item 11, library board membership, discussion and possible action to appoint members to serve on the library advisory board.
Can I say something about this? I guess that's a yes. I think Ms. Staggs brought up a good point earlier. We had a board that was supposed to have been in place, and we found out a few council meetings ago, they didn't even realize that all their terms had expired, and none of them really knew what was going on, and then apparently now we're finding out that the grant didn't even get applied for. I don't remember exactly how it was said, but somebody one time was talking about repeating the same mistakes and expecting different results it was kind of an insulting word, so I won't repeat it, but I think whenever I look at this, there are people on this names on this list that were supposed to have been on that board before that didn't carry out the duties that they should have carried out.
These are going to be voted on, individual names will be voted on, it's not.
I understand that, yeah, it's in red. But I think that maybe you need to look at some of those names of those people that were supposed to have been taking care of the library before, and maybe not put them on there and put some fresh blood on there, some people that might take care of it and might make sure we get our grants.
A, Robert Brooks.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
No.
Hernandez,
No.
Staggs,
No.
Mike Summers.
Dodson,
No.
Miller,
No.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item C, Jan Blaylock.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
D, Kathy Riddle.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
E, Pamela Urban.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
F, Annie Fitch,
Dodson,
yes.
Miller,
No.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
No.
G, Cheryl Cohart,
Dodson,
yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs.
Yes.
G, actually, you already have 5 on the board, and it's only a 5-member board, so G can't be voted on.
Well, wait a minute,
That's not true.
that's,
If all spaces were empty, we just.
No.
1, 2, 3, 4,
because
5.
the A didn't pass,
B didn't
B
pass,
didn't pass,
E didn't pass.
well, I think E.
I mean, I'm sorry, F didn't pass.
F didn't pass.
So we're at 4. You got 3 and 2. So it would have passed.
No, C, D, E passed, F failed, and G passed, didn't it?
You have to have
That's
4.
correct. That's the way I got it.
Oh, you're saying you have to have 4?
4 votes, yeah.
You need
Okay,
4
gotcha.
votes.
So
I was
Jan,
counting 3, sorry.
Jan, Kathy, Pam, and Cheryl, that's only 4, Debbie still
Yeah.
have 1 more.
Yes, but you don't have another name on here, so you're just gonna have to bring that back. So basically, if you don't have any other board members,
Then you go to the next one with the most votes.
no,
You bring
you've
me
gotta
up.
bring, you've gotta bring another
Comes back
name
with
back.
another application.
So you're gonna be short 1.
Really short
If you're short 1, you're gonna have to bring that back, another name or 2 at the next meeting.
Can I make a motion to reconsider Mike Summers? He's been on the board since what, 82, or how long has he been on the library board?
No, I don't know.
Reaches out at the senior citizens home and everything else. I mean, I don't know why we wouldn't put him on the board, back on the board. He's been on the library board for years.
Yeah, I don't know how long he's been on there because we don't have those records.
I think that gets back to part of the issue of the fact that the board hasn't met in, what, 5 years?
It's been a long time.
Or
We have no records of
however
any
long,
meetings.
there's no way to dig up any meeting records.
That's one reason why I voted no.
I want people active.
Active, you know. So somebody else needs to apply and go from there. Okay.
Y'all good? Item 12, Cemetery Board recommendation, discussion and possible action on recommendation from the Cemetery Board to establish a fee for the removal of items placed in violation of the cemetery rules and regulations. Are there representatives here from the Cemetery Board? You don't wanna come up and explain what's going on?
Recently, about 6 weeks ago, Amy came in and she had sent us pictures of those rock stones from, that's on Mike Jr.'s grave. I think there's approximately 9 rocks, 5 going up and I think 4 across, I'm not real sure. It's in the mowway. Also, we felt like it was a liability for in the event someone was walking in that area, that somebody could trip and fall on that, hurt themselves. We just felt like, the pictures that you have, we felt like that they needed to be removed. Amy says it best when she says time is not cheap, nor is it free. And so for us, we felt like that it would be, and we also, when we have meetings, let me say this, we invite anybody and everybody because it's open. But we had, at the last meeting, we had a couple of people there to give us advice on the proper amount of money that's charged per hour for labor of that caliber. And so what we did is we decided that a certain amount would be for if someone had to literally just physically do that, or if they had to use a machine. And so it's different prices, different fees, one for the manual and one for the mechanical. And so really, we're just trying to look out for folks who, you know, Christmas is coming. People walk up and down, you know, looking at graves and other such fun pastimes up there. So we just felt like we needed to deter any other events such as what you see on the pictures. We just need, you know, perhaps we will make new rules so that when someone passes away, that we give those new rules to them and they will see that they can't just throw anything they want out there. And if they do, there will be a fee. A letter written to them, 10 days to get it up. If they don't, then we take care of it.
So it would be an amendment to our fee schedule.
What are the fees that you're recommending? I'm not seeing it.
You know, right offhand,
It's on number 12.
is it,
I didn't see it, I skimmed through there and I didn't see it. Oh, I see. Well, that's not outrageous.
I think that's pretty reasonable.
I do too.
What's the fee?
It's
In your packet.
should be in your packet.
It's $35
Okay.
for anything, to move anything under 50 pounds, anything over 50 pounds. It's $150 an hour for, with a 3-hour minimum to use mechanical equipment to lift the items out of the way.
Absolutely.
You have a motion.
Somebody wanna make a motion?
I wanted to make a motion to approve the fee.
Second.
Okay, can you amend your motion to say and amend the fiscal fee schedule?
Yeah, what she said.
Thank you. And the second one.
Josh.
Not for that particular thing.
Dodson,
Yes?
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes,
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Approval of resolution 2021-25 for an election to be held April 6, 2021, for the purpose of electing 4 councilmen at large, for the election to be handled by the Garvin County Election Board, and for the filing to be with the city clerk on February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
You said 2025, it should be 2026. 21, 26. That's actually 113, it should be 21-26.
I'm just reading what it says.
I know, I'm just correcting that. In February, it should be 7th, 8th, and 9th, not the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
It's supposed to be the first, second, and third. I mean, the first Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the month.
which will be
The 7th, 8th, and 9th.
not the first, second, third.
Correct.
Yeah,
7th, 8th, and 9th is actually what the resolution says.
right.
Yes, it was just a,
Does yours say 2021 or 2022?
Did y'all see the resolution?
And it should,
We gave you a corrected one tonight.
yeah, it's fixed on the resolution.
Okay, so it's all on, okay.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2021-26.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes,
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Discussion and possible action to declare city property surplus or obsolete as per city ordinance 2-305 and authorize the city manager to sell or issue authorizations for the sale of surplus or obsolete supplies, materials, or equipment, or to dispose of as the city manager deems fit, and property determined to be worthless by the city council. Item A, 1984 one-ton Chevy tipper truck.
And if you guys would notice your bid sheets that are beside your packet, we are requiring, I am asking for a minimum bid to be set on this equipment as well.
Reserve.
Reserve bid, yes,
So will be a competitive bid.
yes,
With a reserve.
with a reserve, yeah.
Item A,
Dodson,
yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
B, 1998 GMC pickup street sweeper,
Dodson,
yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item C, 1986 Onan generator trailer,
Dodson,
yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
D, K9 police dog Spike.
Dodson,
I want to discuss this item. I would like for the city manager to be able to transfer this animal without cost.
I'll second.
We got a second.
I'll second that.
Dawson made the motion. Henderson seconded.
And that transfers to,
Shane McGraw.
Shane McGraw.
I say yes, I second it.
Roll call.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Governing board comments? You have anything?
It's just enjoy the holidays, what's left of the year.
I'd like to thank all the city employees for all their hard work throughout the year, and really just want them to reflect on this last year and have a Merry Christmas with their families, and we just really, really do appreciate you guys.
And the park, Main Street, everything looks great. They've done a great job down at the park and on Main Street, all the city employees, city management.
That road by Boomerang is awesome.
Like the-
Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
City manager comments? I'm sorry.
Oh, my God.
I don't have any at this time,
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
so we're going to talk about it.
Roll call, please.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Did you say roll call?
Roll call.
For
Yes,
LPW.
here. Oh, I thought you said yes, I'm like, I'm here.
Yes, I'm
Hernandez,
Here.
Staggs,
Here.
Yes.
No, that was your adjournment, I'm sorry.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, adjourned.
Yeah, give her just a minute to get the next one.
It's late in the year.
I wonder how roll too. Already marked everybody here, mine nuts.
Jumping ahead of ourselves.
You good? I'd like to call the order of the LPWA regular meeting December 13th, 2021. Roll call, please.
Dodson,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Henderson,
Here.
Hernandez,
Here.
Staggs,
Here.
Approval, or consent agenda, approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on November 8th, 2021, approval of the minutes of the special meeting on November 12th, 2021, approval of the minutes of the special meeting on November 16th, 2021, acceptance of November 2021 financial reports, acceptance of the payment of the purchase orders issued by the city of Lindsay for the month of November 2021, ratification of city council's action on the regular scheduled meeting dates for the calendar year 2022, approval of the 2022 lease agreements for the 4 Lindsay Municipal Airport hangars, and the lease for small storage.
Where is the small storage?
There's at the back of the hangar, there's a small like storage shed.
Okay.
And the doctor keeps his little scooter thing in there that he drives back and forth to town. He flies in from Ardmore and he keeps his scooter at the airport and then he drives it to Main Street. and back.
Okay, I thought, where was going here?
I'll make a motion to approve this consent agenda.
Second.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item 4, consideration of items removed from consent agenda, there were none. Item 5, consider and take action with respect to a resolution approving and authorizing a clean water SRF loan from the Oklahoma Water Resource Board in the total aggregate principal amount of $2.3 million, approving the issuance of a series 2021 Clean Water SRF promissory note in the total aggregate principal amount of $2,318,530, secured by a mortgage and pledge of revenues, and authorizing its execution. Approving and authorizing the execution of a loan agreement for Clean Water SRF loan, designating a local trustee, and approving and authorizing the execution of a trust agreement. Approving and authorizing the execution of a mortgage with power of sale and security agreement. Approving and authorizing the execution of a sales tax agreement, ratifying and confirming a lease as amended. Approving various covenants, approving and authorizing the payment of fees and expenses, and containing other provisions related thereto.
Make a motion to approve resolution 2021-24.
Second.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item 6, discussion and possible action on change order number 2 from Avery Construction dated 11/11/21, asking for additional days to compensate for the interruption of the supply chain due to the COVID-19 pandemic and design change to use materials available for the water distribution project.
Move to approve change order number 2. Avery Construction.
Second.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item 7, discussion and possible action to declare city property surplus or obsolete as per city ordinance 452, section 2-130.1A, and authorize the city manager to sell or issue authorizations for the sale of surplus or obsolete supplies, materials, or equipment. Item A, 1970 C50 2-ton Chevy digger truck.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Item B, 1987 Caterpillar front-end loader.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
Yes.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Dodson,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Henderson,
Yes.
Hernandez,
Yes.
Staggs,
No, I think we ought to sit here a while longer. Yes.
We got our water meters! We got our water meters!